Creating art is one of the most rewarding experiences, but at times it can be frustrating, especially when you're just starting out. There are so many questions, a lot of mistakes, and uncertainty about who you are as an artist and what you want to create. Thankfully, there are artists like my good friend Wild Creates, who through their experience have created a list of their best tips for painting and for being an artist. Wild Creates is an exceptional painter who not only makes stunning pieces of artwork, but also takes pride in helping others find their creativity and their passion. Let's send it over to Wild.
Wow, that was quite an introduction. Thank you, Cassie. Yeah, my name is Wild, and I'm an artist that does acrylic pours, abstract art, and landscapes in both oil and acrylic. And the best part about this is I'm self-taught, which means I've pretty much made every mistake possible, which gives me an advantage to teach you on things to avoid, on how to make your art journey more easy. So I'm gonna give you 10 tips that's gonna be perfect for beginners starting out with painting. Number one, gesso. While gesso has a ton of benefits, if you're a brand new artist, the main ones that's gonna help you out is if you're painting on things like linen and canvas that generally soaks in paint. Gesso helps seal the surface, allowing your colors to blend more naturally on the canvas. For an added benefit, if you're actually tight on funds, since you're gonna seal that canvas or that painting surface, your colors are actually gonna spread farther, helping you save money because you're not gonna have to use as much color. So if you're a brand new painter, get a nice cheap bottle of gesso. Number two, horizon line. So many brand new landscape painters don't mark off a horizon line. Before you know it, you've painted in your sky, your background, these gigantic mountains, and you've left this little tiny space for your midground and foreground, leading to an unpleasing painting. Mark off your horizon line. Now, I personally use painter's tape because it works well for me in my mediums, but if you're working on a more delicate surface for your painting, you can just take a ruler and mark in a line right across with a thinned down paint. This way, when you paint over it, you won't notice anything. But when you mark off a horizon line, not only are you gonna have a more balanced painting, it makes it easier for you, the artist, to visualize the whole piece, making the streamline of the process of creating the landscape a whole lot easier. Number three, have some more fun. Before your paintbrush even touches your canvas, I want you to take a tip from Frank Clark, who taught me, have some more fun. Think about your horizon, your sky, your midground, and your foreground. Hence, have some more fun. If you can think about these elements before your paintbrush even touches your canvas, and you can visualize where everything's going to go, it makes it a whole lot easier. There's nothing wrong with putting in some scratch marks to give you an actual visualization of where these elements need to be or stop or begin, so that way you can have, again, a better balanced painting. So again, remember to have some more fun. Number four, reference photos. I don't care who you are. If you're a brand new painter, you need to be using a reference photo at the beginning. I don't care if you're working on landscapes, still life, or like Cassie, wildlife. Using a reference photo alleviates a lot of burden on you as the artist. You have something to reference. You have something to refer back to. You have something to validate that you're making the correct steps when you're painting something. It really helps a lot. Now, if you're like me that does a lot of freestyle painting and you don't want to use a reference photo, okay, fair enough. But if you struggle with certain elements in your painting, like skies, clouds, or mountains, look up references for just those elements on Google. This way it gives you ideas so that way you can express yourself more on the canvas. Ooh, and for an actual added bonus tip, if you're watching, let's just say, one of Wild Creates tutorials or Cassie Draws tutorials, go all the way to the end of the YouTube video and screen grab the final result, and that is your reference photo as you paint through the tutorial. This is one of the best tips I've ever given out on YouTube. It'll help you a ton. I guess we'll just call that tip 4.5, but now moving on to 5. Number 5, experiment with texture. One of the most enlightening things I was ever taught from a professional artist is, I'm not making a photo, I'm making a painting. And that just blew my mind because it resonates in so many ways, because it does transform your art. When you're painting something, you're taking something that's two-dimensional, but when you add texture to it, you're really making it three-dimensional. It really makes it pop off the canvas, and that's gonna resonate with the viewer out there. So find ways to add texture into your painting if it calls for it. Simple things like adding extra thick layers to your clouds, or making paint breaks on your mountain so it looks like real snow, or using molding paste on your abstract art really takes it to the next level. And if you want even a bonus tip on this, trust me, potential buyers love texture in a painting. Number 6, keep it marbly. Now, I will agree, one of the best parts about painting is mixing fun colors. However, a strong beginner mistake is you generally mix your colors dead. And what I mean by that is you mix it just to one consistent color. While that might be good for some instances, try leaving your paint mixtures marbly. You're gonna add a lot of variations and differences in it, and it's gonna have this gambit of colors in it that when you apply it to your canvas, it's gonna look beautiful. For instance, I always leave my paints marbly when I make mountains because it looks like sunlight is just catching certain parts of the snow or the shadows, like it's kissing it and giving off these certain glistens of color. And I didn't have to do any extra work or make different colors to make that effect happen. So try leaving your paint mixtures more marbly, because trust me, it's probably gonna make your piece a lot more elegant. And number 7, towels. I can't believe I'm gonna give this tip away to Cassie's awesome community and Cassie herself, but I love her so much. One of the best tips I could ever give any brand new artist is get yourself some blue shop towels. Yes, these things are amazing. You wanna make sure you get blue shop towels because they're the most absorbent and they're strong built, which means when you rub them into your painting surface to rub out, let's just say extra oils from your mediums or paints that are too oily or colors that are just too strong that you need to pull away from the painting surface, these blue shop towels are OP. They're really good and they won't leave any paper residue behind. If you're an oil painter out there, I highly suggest getting Scott's blue shop towels. It will, no joke, change your life. That almost fell on my foot. Number 8 is make sure you please get yourself an apron. People are always concerned about saving money when it comes to materials for painting, but did you realize that one of the things that's gonna make you spend a lot of money on paint is the clothes that you're going to ruin? I've gone through a ton of clothes. So make sure you get yourself a nice artist apron, something that's gonna hold up, and I highly recommend get something that's gonna rest on your shoulders and not your neck if you plan on painting for prolonged painting sessions. Now I use this nice denim one and it costs under $15. I really recommend it, but the nice thing about it is it's sturdy so it'll hold up even if I get paint on it and it won't seep through to my clothes. But I'm a passionate painter and I'm always throwing my paintbrush all over the place, which means paint is always gonna go everywhere, which means my clothes are going to be a casualty, but with an apron, they won't be. Number 9 is paint the same thing twice. If you're a brand new painter, I can guarantee you've made this mistake. If you painted something that just didn't come out the way that you wanted, you most likely just scrapped it and moved on to the next thing, and then you weren't happy with that. That's a big no-no in my book. What you should do is that first thing that you painted that you're not happy with, okay, let's use that as a learning experience. And I want you to paint the same thing again, a few days later or a week later. Take what you learned from that very first painting and then apply it to your second painting. I think you'll be in awe at how much better that second painting is. It's really gonna be a good measuring tool of how you're growing as an artist. Plus, you can take what you learned from the first painting, apply it to the second. You can see what you really sucked on the first painting and try to improve it on the second. I do this all the time, and it's one of the best teaching tools you'll ever have. And number 10 is start simple. This one right here is the magnum opus of all beginner mistakes. And I know you've done this. You found a tutorial and you go, oh wow, that looks pretty. I'll paint that. I have 6 hours of experience. I can nail it. That's a recipe for disaster. What you need to do is start out with something simple. You need to learn the basics, but more importantly, you need to build confidence. You can always work your way up. So find tutorials that are simple for you, that are easy, that are comprehensive, that don't go too in detail, that aren't too elaborate. Because if you paint something and you're not happy, you're gonna give up on painting right away. And I don't want that for you, and I know Cassie doesn't want it for you either.
Wow, thank you so much for all of that helpful advice, Wild. You are the best. Now, where can we find you, your artwork, and more of this helpful advice?
If you want to see more of me with my awesome hair giving out great painting tips and tutorials, you can just follow me on my YouTube channel at Wild Creates. Gonna have Cassie do me a huge favor and put all my social media links down below. And if you're a brand new oil painter getting into oil painting, I actually have a downloadable PDF that shows you the best budget-friendly supplies to get and what to avoid so you don't waste your money, so that way you start your painting adventures off on the right foot.
I just want to give a huge shout out to Wild Creates for helping us and the community with this video and all of those wonderful, helpful tips. Be sure to give him a follow and leave a nice comment down below. We would love to hear from you. Now, Wild, before we go, any final thoughts?
I always teach every new artist, start off slow. Art is a journey, so take a couple baby steps. Really build that confidence, because when you have confidence, you'll be unstoppable. Thanks for watching, and I'll check you all later. Peace.